Welcome back to Behind the Screens podcast, and today it's James, it's Bart.
Yep.
Stepping up because Curtis has got the shits.
Yep.
Or he might also be dying. We're not too sure yet.
One or the other.
Yeah, they don't really want to speak out of turn just in case it is bad, right?
And we're here with Tom.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
And in Bart's seat, we've got Jack.
Hello.
Welcome to
me.
the pod, Jack. You're here as well. So, Tom,
Yes, sir.
welcome to the show. How you doing?
I am doing very well, sir. Enjoying the slightly warmer weather, even if not in a three-piece suit.
Three-piece suit. Best dressed guest on the pod so far.
I mean, are you trying to make me blush immediately? Thank you very much. I mean, no, carry on, please.
And Bart, how are you feeling? Big pressure you stepping up to Curtis's seat here.
Yeah, it's a bit nerve-wracking. It feels weird, like we're in an alternate reality where Jack is now the producer and I am the man that fleeced people for FIFA coins. But it feels good. It feels good. I'm happy to step in and happy to get deep and personal with these questions.
You go deep.
God, going deep.
Yeah.
Jeez,
But
crumbs.
first up,
Can we also, just first up before you go, this is our first podcast since we hit 10k followers on TikTok.
Yes, come on.
10k on TikTok, so brands, where you at? Go on, let's monetize this thing. So feel free to continue.
right. First up, how was the drive from Winchester?
Drive from Winchester was long this morning, about 2.5 hours. But that was my fault. I decided to get up at 5 rather than 4:30, so can't really complain too much. But the sun was shining, so I could get my sunnies on.
Lovely stuff. Driving in London versus driving outside of London. Big difference?
Yeah, massively so. Like driving outside of London, you can actually have fun. I mean, don't get me wrong, you've still got the joys of looking at a middle-aged dude in Lycra on a bicycle, but at least in, a country lane, you can get around them quite quickly.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think out of the country, like cyclists are even worse than the ones in London.
Just get a quicker car. You'll be fine.
Okay, what car do you drive?
BMW Z4 Coupe.
Oh,
like
yeah, love that.
Sounds a lot fancier than it
So
actually is.
just
Yes,
by
sir.
looking at us
Yes.
and meeting us for the last 5 minutes, go around the table. What do you think we all drive?
Oh dear. Crumbs. Right, we'll start with the head of the table then, shall we? I'm going to say probably an Audi. I'm going to say probably an Audi Family Man A4.
You're not too far away.
Oh, God.
Audi SQ8.
Oh, okay. All right. Successful Family Man then. Nicely done. But not flashy. Didn't want to get the Urus. You're like, I'll go for the I'll go for the
It was another 6 months to wait.
Yeah, also it's like
And I also
just-
don't want one. of
no,
those.
you just look like every hateful LA sort of, wannabe at that point.
And I can't imagine my missus driving one of those.
Oh.
Like curbing the alloys, curbing the tyres. That would just be, I'd be just scared every single time she got in the car.
Yes, utterly terrified. I can remember I gave my ex the keys to my car once just to pull it off the drive. Pulls it off the drive and immediately scratches the wheels on the opposite curb. And I was like, I love her. I'm not going to kill her. That's fine. Yourself. Oh, gosh, crumbs. Photographer upgraded to a podcaster. I'm going to go to, let's say, oh, crumbs. You're actually quite a difficult one to peg. So I'm going to go, Vauxhall Astra GTS.
You think of me that low, really? Wow.
I said GTS is the coupe version. Go on.
It's a curveball, BMW 325i convertible.
Ooh.
Hard top.
Okay.
Red leather interior. Yeah.
Very good. What age is that?
It's a 2008, so it's an E93 N54 engine.
No.
Getting a bit nerdy here, but it's a good car.
No, I like it. It's a good car.
A good car.
I wouldn't have gone for the convertible. I'm not as much of a hairdresser, but my arms are nowhere near as big as yours, so I don't think I could quite pull it off. And, crumbs, what am I going to go for the vlogger? You've got to have some sort of convertible so you can hang out the top of it.
Okay.
But the fact of your reaction, I'm going to say it's not a convertible. So, to be fair, I really hope you drive something like a Volvo 940, because that would just be perfect.
I'm going to guess he doesn't drive.
That would be a curveball. No, I do drive. I drive a Ford Fiesta ST.
Oh, I love a Ford
Yeah.
Fiesta sanitary towel.
Yeah.
Such a great car. I mean, they are a rolling asbo. My brother had.
Yeah.
And like he put a giant intake on it, and every single time he put his foot down, he'd lift off, and all you hear is yeah.
I just realised as well, we haven't actually found out what you do on TikTok and Instagram. So for everyone listening, just show what you do.
Okay.
Give us a bit of background about why we're talking about cars as well.
Yes. Okay. So my background: I work as a tour guide on the side of cars. I run a business called Small Car Big City, and we take people on privately guided tours of London in classic Mini Coopers. And about 2 years ago, I thought it would be a good idea to stop ranting at my mum when I walked home and start ranting at my phone instead. and started telling, historical stories about Formula One, bit of mental health, kind of look out for one another. And it's just kind of snowballed from there, really. Been a fun journey so far. And it gets me to places like this, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best podcast in the world.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
actually, we just entered the top 50 comedy podcasts in Egypt. So shout out our Egyptian fans. Or
Big up the North
we're
African
coming for top
Yeah,
5
we're
soon.
coming for the #1 spot in Egypt.
Well, you were saying, right, though, that you've done 21 episodes.
Yes.
That,
Yeah.
I believe, puts you in, like, what is it, the top 0.5% of all podcasts ever produced, because most
Wow.
die out after 3.
Really?
And then after 21, it's like most people can't be asked to carry on going from there.
Jesus.
Might be even a smaller percentage than that.
Well, we're going strong.
Yeah.
Going strong, and we'll keep going.
If you get anything north of 20, you're doing really bloody well. So
Yeah.
top 5 in Egypt, getting done.
What else are we ranking for?
It's like comedy is like top 20 somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably like Macedonia or something. All over the place.
Exactly.
But we got some decent. I keep getting those emails about like people giving us rankings and stuff, but I try not to look at it because I don't really care about being top 5 tech podcast in Cambodia.
Just
Yeah.
with that weird sort of flex down the pub. Well, don't you know, I'm ranked number 3 for comedy in the Balkans. But there we go.
So you mentioned you started ranting to your phone.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first piece of content you put up, and how did that feel posting that out?
The first bit of content I put up was actually an Instagram story that I did that I then ended up subsequently just posting on TikTok, which was ranting about Sadiq Khan and the fact that, he's just doing an awful job. I don't know, it just felt really, really cathartic to get it off my chest and to not do it directly at somebody. Because you know how you can kind of snowball when you're ranting with somebody. You kind of just get what you need off your chest and you're like, oh, done. Happy days, right? Move on with my life. And that kind of worked. And yeah, just kind of snowballed from there, really. And I guess it was a lot of ranty videos. And then I thought, well, storytelling's kind of a better angle to go with. Especially, recently I've decided not to talk about politics anymore just because that's a bit of an issue when it comes to working with brands, shall we say.
Right.
It's like an immediate red flag. It doesn't matter if you're the right side of what they want you to talk about. It's just, you can't really talk about politics and get, presentership roles. So I thought I'd just put that on the back burner and leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when was the first time you really felt people were listening to you?
Good question. The first video that kind of popped off, I would suggest, was I did a men's mental health post on International Men's Day in 2023, I think. And I think a week before I celebrated the fact that I had 500 followers on TikTok. So I started in September and I wanted to get to December and I wanted to have 1,000. And I was like, come on, halfway there. 2 weeks later, I make this post on International Men's Day in like November. And I shot up to 30K followers in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
I was like, right, okay, that's interesting. Because it was a throwaway post. Like it's International Men's Day.
What did you talk about?
So kind of opened it with a bit of a joke, like poking fun, saying, men have got it easy, right? Like I think the phrase was men have got it easy. We can reach things off the top shelf. We can go for a pee standing up. And funnily enough, we can take our car out without curbing the wheels. And then basically like listed all of the different categories that men have actually got it really badly.
Yeah.
Not saying that women have got it easy or that, men have got it worse than women, because that's complete tosh. We've equally got it just as bad in different areas. And it was, had some really, really interesting sort of responses to that video. Some people coming out and just being like, oh, why do you hate women? I'm like, I didn't even mention women once other than the fact they can't drive. I didn't even mean it was a joke. But then having a lot of people, there was one comment I can remember, it genuinely floored me. It was about a week later. And the guy said that he was been struggling a lot, went down to his local train tracks and sat in the middle of the tracks. Opened up TikTok, just waiting for a train to come, just kill some time. Saw my video, got up and left.
Wow.
And then sent me a message. And I was just walking through Waterloo Station, read it, and I literally was like, right, need a minute. That's quite a lot for me to now have to digest. And ended up subsequently getting like sort of 20 or 30 other messages from that.
How did that feel?
Overwhelming, to say the least. Like, I was never the person that anybody would ever listen to at school, like at all. So the fact that, my content was going out and it was, reaching people that I'd never spoken to, really interesting. And then to get that sort of reaction of, you've really, really helped me. I don't think I actually did really anything that particular, but thank you. I guess like I'm glad that I could help you in some sort of way or manner. But yeah, it was really overwhelming when I got sort of, a torrent of messages and just didn't really know how to deal with it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Do you think that people now look up to you?
I don't know. It's a weird concept, and like even thinking about it, I can tell that I'm now starting to blush, because like the idea of like somebody looking up to me, or like me being a role model, I'm like, but why me? I'm just another dude. I put my trousers on two legs at a time. Like I'm that guy.
But do you feel now that you have to uphold a certain sense of responsibility now that you have started creating content like that? Do you feel like you are a role model in that sense?
I will never look at myself as a role model, but I will try and hold myself as if I am one.
Yeah.
If that makes
so
sense.
you'd hold yourself accountable to the stuff you post online.
Yeah, exactly. So like if I, made a bad video, I made a bad judgment call. I can remember I did one, and like 2 days later it came out that what I'd actually latched onto was not 100% true, and I just let my emotions get the better of me.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I found out, I was like, yeah, all right, hands up. Balls that one up, guys. I'm sorry.
Have you been trying to be more composed now in the content that you make before jumping into conclusions?
I guess I never really jumped to conclusions realistically. It was more just sort of the sort of the mess up was I was talking about, there was a mural that was, being asked to be taken down off the side of a chip shop.
Right.
And I was just like, why? It's a mural on the side of a chippy. It's got a Union flag. Like, well, what's the issue with that? And it turned out that it was a historic building and that they weren't allowed to paint on it because they didn't have prior planning, nor would they ever get it. And yeah, I was just like, okay, that was a poor judgment call. I probably should have known that, seeing as I did architecture at uni. But no matter the content that I've made, I've always tried to walk the line and just kind of never really give it like too opiniony. Just kind of be like, this is what one side says, this is what the other side says. Make up your own mind, or jump in the comments and debate.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's one thing that I really like, is the fact that there is this weird little community of people that does like to actually debate and go, well, actually, I think this. I see what you said there, but have you thought about it from this angle? Rather than going, you're a dick, why have you said that? Because I cannot stand that in the slightest.
That's like 90% of social media, though. You're never going to get rid of
It's
it.
90% of our comments on this podcast.
That's how it is.
And that's the thing, like we were chatting about it earlier, I don't understand this sort of whole idea of sensationalism. Like either you have to agree with something 100% or you have to disagree with it 100%. It's like, we kind of live in the middle 90% of the time, and a little sprinkling of this and a little sprinkling of that. That's kind of where, everything evolves properly.
But saying that, do you think you have to be sensationalist as a social media creator to get views?
Ooh.
Do we do that?
Yes.
Are you just casting the spotlight onto yourself?
We do that with our top fives, I think. That's our algorithm.
I mean, everybody loves a top five.
Yeah.
You've got to rank. I mean, I think, I think in the beginning, being sensationalist definitely helps. Very, very kind of clickbaity hooks definitely work in your favor. But if you're constantly just over sensationalizing everything, everybody's going to see through it within about 10 minutes, and they'll just get bored of you and move on to the next sensationalist.
But you could also argue that if you stop being sensationalist, people are going to stop watching your content because they initially started watching your content because you are sensationalist.
True, I guess it all.
Like, how do you keep them engaged without being that?
Well, it all depends on who you are as a person, right?
Right.
If you are a sensationalist person, be sensationalist.
Can you say that one more time, sensationalist? We should have a counter on the screen.
Exactly. Everybody has to do a shot. If anyone's driving, they're completely stuffed at this point. But no, I think the thing that really helps you to grow on social media, if I'm actually in a position to say that, is being authentic to who you are as a person. If you want to talk about certain subjects, talk about them. If they're difficult subjects to talk about, do it. If you want to do some slightly cringy content, do it. Like, it doesn't matter as long as you're being who you are as a person and not pretending to be somebody else.
Yeah.
And I say that with a slight thin veil over the top of it, because who I am, like on TikTok and Instagram, is not necessarily what I'm like as a person.
Yeah.
The only reason I say that is, like, even if you compare how I'm talking on the pod right now to how I talk when I'm in my car, it's very different.
Yeah.
It's what everybody I work with, my family knows Tour Guide Tom. So like if you're out in a car with me, everything's turned up to 11 and the Jeremy Clarkson impression comes out, and it's, that's how I feel that I can gain an audience, is by trying to be loud and in your face really quickly, but still kind of use the language that I ordinarily would, or talk in the same way that I would, just a
Yeah.
little bit louder and a little bit more expressive.
So is your online personality just an exaggerated personality of what you are and of who you are in like real life?
100%, I would say so. You know, it's just me turned up to 11, but I do feel a little bit bad if somebody, you know, comes up to me and I'm nowhere near as loud as they're expecting, and I'm actually like quite a softly spoken person. I
Yeah.
was expecting you to half shout me down when I said hello. Sorry, my bad.
So you're a Formula One guy.
Yes, sir.
What did you think of Bukayo Saka's refusal to do an interview on the grid walk yesterday? Obviously, everyone has kicked off on social media about it. Some he's good, some he's bad. What do you think about it?
Well, it wasn't, for a start, it wasn't Martin Brundle doing the grid walk. And MB is incredibly noticeable. Everybody knows who he is and everybody knows what the shtick is if he's walking around on the grid. Simon Lazenby has not got that level of gravitas. So I can understand if Bukayo was kind of caught off guard. It was like, you're not Martin Brundle. Why are you asking me a question? Go away. Do I think that all quote-unquote celebrities who get approached on the grid should answer a question if camera's in their face? Not necessarily. Like, they are there to enjoy themselves. If it is a specific segment that is well-known and well-loved as a part of Formula One, which is Martin Brundle on the grid doing a grid walk, then yeah, like if he comes up to you, do it. Or if it's another presenter from another international show that's known for doing it, yeah, you should. Or you should at least try and engage.
Yeah.
Like turning away and kind of pretending that that person's not there, you just look like a bit of a dick.
So let's say you were doing the grid walk.
Yep.
Saka's over there.
Yep.
How would you get him to talk to you? What question would you ask him?
Interesting, because I'm not a football man at all. Even though that I say that I'm an Arsenal fan, but that's just because the only game I've ever watched is Arsenal versus Tottenham at Highbury in the Arsenal stand. And I was like 7 years old. My dad was just like, you cheer for Tottenham, you will be stabbed. It's like, okay, good to know. So it's like, I'm a gunner through and through. So it would probably be just along the lines of, you know, you're always shooting for goal. Who do you think's shooting for P1? Something terrible and cheesy like that. Just make it really, really simple. Or just try and humanize him and ask him why he's at that specific Grand Prix. Because there were loads of footballers there.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's a football.
Jude was there as well, wasn't he?
Jude,
Bellingham was there.
Did he give a?
I think they stuck the camera in his face, and I think he said something as he's walking by.
Yeah. But I think Bellingham was with Mercedes. Harry Kane was wandering around. And then who was the guy that was waving the flag? Lewandowski. There we go.
Okay.
Was it Lewandowski? I didn't even know he was there.
I think he was
My
waved the checkered flag, I think.
Did have no clue.
But yeah, they've always got those celebrities walking around. I think the problem is that Formula One these days is being turned more into an entertainment circus more than actually caring about what it is, which is motorsport.
How would you deal with awkward interviews or awkward guests? Like, how are you dealing with us in this podcast right now?
I mean, you two are utterly delightful, so I don't know what you're on about. But like, if people are going to be awkward, again, it goes back to that sort of authenticity thing. If they are genuinely an awkward person, like we're used to seeing these movie stars and they're always playing these complex and interesting characters, offline they might be incredibly boring. Like Cillian Murphy, a great example. Hasn't got social media, hasn't got a smartphone. Like, away from acting, he is just a very wholesome, humble guy that just wants to spend time with his family, right?
Yeah.
Away from the limelight. I assume that's like what quite a lot of these celebrities are like anyway. The problem is that, you know, you go to Formula One, it's the most watched motorsport event in the world. And if you're a well-known name, someone's going to shove a camera in your face. So you kind of got to be prepared for that a little bit. But if there's an awkward interview, just go, right, cool, next, and just move on. Because I mean, there's going to be 1,000,001 people on the grid that
But
you can talk to.
do you think that as someone like Bukayo Saka, who carries quite a big sort of level of influence around him,
Yep.
do you think he is obligated to give an interview in a place like that simply because he's got an image to uphold, not just his, but also his team's?
Yeah, I can understand that point of, you know, he's got his team's image, his sponsor's image, all of that he's got to, you know, take care of. But again, it's his day off. I think if you want to avoid the limelight, put a hat on, put a big set of sunglasses on, make it clear that you don't want to speak to anyone. You just want to be there and enjoy the actual event that is the race.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody should ever be obliged to do anything. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's a free world.
Yeah.
Or at least it should be. Just leave that as it is. I'll let you let your mind wander.
So if you were a Formula One driver, or you had the potential to be a Formula One driver,
I mean, I do have the potential. I just don't have the budget.
what team would you want to drive for?
Oh, Ferrari. I mean, don't get me wrong. McLaren is my team. Like, I love McLaren. But if you're going to drive in Formula One, you've got to drive for Ferrari. It's why Hamilton's done it, right? Like, all of the greats go to Ferrari. Schumacher, Vettel, Alonso, Hamilton, Lauda. Like, all of these guys have been at Ferrari. And to win with Ferrari is you immediately become a legend.
I'm an absolute noob when it comes to like Formula One. So is Ferrari considered like the top team like of all time, or
To put it in really,
sexiest?
yeah, definitely like
Sexiest team of all time?
Oh, it's just the name, isn't it? That's what Ferrari
Ferrari.
stands for.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, as Enzo Ferrari once said, if you ask a child to draw a car, he'll paint it red.
that's true.
Because,
Oh wow, I never really thought about that.
Like, and red symbolizes so many different things across the world, but never a bad thing.
What about a red flag?
Okay, unless a red.
What
flag,
about a red
like,
traffic light?
you just
what
got
about-
to stop and let the pedestrians go. That's
What
not a
about
bad
blood?
thing. Blood helps your body move. I like to be devil's advocate. But no, I think that, you know, for the easiest way to put it is Ferrari is the only team that has been in the championship since the championship's inception. They are so important to Formula One that they actually get a veto rule. So this veto rule basically means that any changes that F1 want to bring in, all of the teams get to vote. But if Ferrari votes against it, and they're the only team that votes against it, Ferrari wins.
Surely that's ridiculous. That's like,
It is
that's
ridiculous.
Like silly rule.
Oh, it is ridiculous. And like for years and years and years before the budget cap, like Ferrari always got a larger portion of all of the, you know, monetary rewards. Like there are so many little like backhanders that Ferrari gets. Like for example, back in 2019, the Mercedes was unbelievable, like all domineering as most of Hamilton's cars were. And then halfway through the season, after the summer break, Ferrari turned up at Spa and suddenly they were going like 20 mile an hour quicker down the straights. And I was like, how the fuck have you done that? So they then, like 2 or 3 races later, the FIA go, right, we've actually got to investigate this, take the engine to pieces and find out that they've done something trickery with inside the block and allowed the oil within the engine to mix with the fuel at like really high RPM to help give a little bit of an extra boost.
Wow.
We don't know the exact ins and outs because the FIA and Ferrari signed a deal that basically sealed the documents. Everything was kind of very, very hush-hush. They paid a fine and moved on. Whereas
Again,
if that was any other team, it would have been fully disqualified from the championship.
that's again fully insane how like a governing body is allowed to sign a deal with one of the teams that is racing and then they can just like keep paying them some hush money and that's it.
Yeah.
Like
It's unbelievable.
surely Ferrari like needs to be investigated just of all like in all time, not just for this thing.
Yeah, you investigate Enzo and what he used to be like to his drivers, and you start to realize as much as he could design a race team, he was not the nicest of people. Like he used to love inter-team rivalries because if they were willing to punt one another off, they were willing to go that extra bit quicker.
Yeah.
And they would constantly spur one another on. And he was quite a evil sort of shadowy figure. I mean, I don't know the guy personally, I haven't read his autobiography, but like from the stories that I've heard from people within different motorsport paddocks, he was not somebody that you'd want to displease.
So how did you get into Formula One and watching that?
So like many kids, it was my dad, you know, loved cars. We used to watch Top Gear every single Sunday, and it became a bit of a ritual that every single Saturday qualifying, we'd go down to the local Waitrose. I know, darling. It was the only shop we had in our town. We go to the local Waitrose and we pick up a couple of fillets of smoked haddock and a couple of like crusty bread rolls. And we literally there boil the haddock, sit there with our crusted rolls, butter them up, and just sit there and watch qualifying and watch Schumacher just dominate everything.
Yeah.
And just because there is zero blood in here and just petrol, like the idea of watching these, the mere, you know, we call them human beings, but they are godlike Formula One drivers, just sending it around a track at Mac Jesus. I wanted to emulate that. I was like, come on, this is just amazing. And the thing that I find hilarious now is like up until like the 2000s, cars were designed to be as quick as they physically could be. And the cars got so quick, they started putting them on groove slicks. So if you ever look at old pictures of Schumacher, his slick tires have got 4 grooves in it. Because the cars were so quick, they had to slow them down with the tires.
Wow.
They put, if you put modern day tires onto an old Formula One car, it will lap a track probably about a second or 2 quicker.
Wow.
It's like 20 years of progress. Really? Right. Okay. Nice.
It's more about safety these days, isn't it? I'm just
Safety's definitely one bit. The fact that the cars are also nearly twice the size, weigh 400 kilos more, aren't allowed to refuel, so that adds, you know, an extra average of probably 80 kilos of fuel throughout a race. And also all of the batteries.
Right.
They weigh an absolute ton. So go on, you said you had an interesting story.
Yeah,
about
so
Formula One.
mine's the flip reverse of your story about you loved Formula One growing up.
Yeah.
I absolutely hated it. The reason why is exactly what you said. Because when I grew, how old are you?
29.
I'm 36. So when I was growing up,
Day over 30.
I love this.
There's a running gag in this podcast. We just wait because every single guest has said, "Oh, you don't look that old."
I mean, the way that you've now like replied to that, you look genuinely jealous. Is it because like what? Are you just like, please? Everyone tells me I look like I'm in my mid-30s and I'm actually in my late 20s.
Wait, before you do that, shout out who?
Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Products.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Very good.
Yes, when I was growing up, there was 4/5 channels on TV. We didn't have Sky Sports or anything like that. And this is when Formula One was on ITV, right?
Yeah.
ITV and BBC, I think it was.
Yeah.
And Saturday morning, go downstairs. There's one TV. The Formula One is on.
But
Sunday, you go downstairs. Formula One's on all day.
yeah.
I'm just like, fucking hell, Dad. Like, I don't want to watch this.
No.
And he sat there, like, no one else can change it. So Formula One's on the whole weekend, and I was a massive football lad. Like, I love football growing up.
Who's your team?
Brentford. And then, but my dad never took me to the football, but it'd be Formula One. It'd be like just on TV constantly. And for me, that was like, I absolutely hate this thing.
I mean, I can understand that. Like, if you're being forced to watch something, you're like, I just can't be asked. I just want to watch Brentford try and get to the Premiership one day. Like, come on. Did he ever take you to a Formula One race?
No, he didn't. He didn't.
So he wouldn't take you to the football or his passion of Formula One?
But I found out years later, this was like probably when I was 18, 19, that my dad actually got offered a contract to be a Formula 3 driver. And he turned it down because my mum was pregnant with my oldest brother.
Oh, that's painful. That's painful.
Honestly, like, I remember growing up, being in the car with my dad, being driven to school. You're holding on for dear life. Like, honestly.
Love that.
It's been driven around corners faster than you could ever believe.
Yeah.
And then one of my oldest brothers as well, he got really into being a boy racer. I remember being in the car with him and it was even more scary than my dad.
Yeah, because your dad knew what he was doing.
Yeah, then my brother, I can specifically remember this one time I was scared for my whole life. On the way to school, there's this dude, like, I thought I was going to die. He decided to overtake someone on a blind corner.
Tit.
And I was just like, what is going on? And he just zoomed past. Obviously, you don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And he thought it was quite funny.
Did he?
So if you're listening to this podcast, Jonathan, I hope you remember that because you risked my life.
Was actually,
But he's just sat
something
there and
happened, though.
he's like Mr. Chang
It's,
in Hangover.
it's just mental, like mental.
How fast was he going? Like, do you reckon?
Pretty fucking fast.
I didn't drive. My sphincter was doing this.
He
Like,
didn't
it
drive
was,
slow. He didn't drive slow. And
So what are you like now as a dad then? Are you a calm driver or do you sort of follow in the footsteps as your dad?
well, because I live in London, it's quite difficult to even go anywhere remotely faster than 30 mile an hour or 40 mile an hour, or you get pinged by a speed camera.
Or cycling Mikey?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Oh,
that
that
guy.
clip. You see the clip this week?
We got hit by the
Yeah.
car on the roundabout. Did you not see it? Yeah.
People were like, the comment was, I would pay millions of pounds to do it. Unreal.
It was insane, to be fair. But
Yeah.
he is a bit of a twat. Cycling Mikey is just a strange man, I think.
Yeah.
I am terrified for the day that I come across him whilst
Yeah.
I'm driving around town. Like, no, I don't text and drive, but my phone is on the dash and like things will ping up and sort of have a little look at it. And I'm just waiting for it. I'll just be sat there probably at a set of lights and just go to like turn my phone off and he'll just catch me on his GoPro.
Yeah.
And I'm not allowed to lose my shit because like I'm in a branded car and it's him.
Yeah.
Mate, yeah.
No.
There's one point I always remember on this road where it turns from like 30, then it goes straight to motorway as you're leaving London, and I'm just like, boom,
Yeah. Good, like,
foot down on that.
But in
but-
sports mode.
just show the Audi what it can do. Just like, there we go,
Yeah.
darling. This is what you were designed for.
You must be a pretty safe driver now that you got a kid, though, innit? Like you have to. You don't really.
My wife tells me to like slow down when you're on the motorway, and it's like slow down a little bit. I'm just like having
Like, I'm just doing outside lane speeds. Like, it's fine. I'm not
What's
going
that
to
through modes? It's like 10% plus 2, right, on a motorway. So if you do 70, you're allowed to do 17
So yeah, for the longest time, the rule has been 10% plus 1.
plus
So
1.
you could get away with 77.
Yeah.
Most police officers won't give a toss unless you're doing over 80.
Right.
But I think they've changed the rule recently, which I think is stupid to like say. I think it's now like 74.
That's not
Because
good.
if you're in a, I understand it. Modern speedos are so much more reliable and accurate.
Yeah.
A lot of people are still driving old clapped out cars. Like my car's it's nearly 19 years old. The speedo isn't that accurate.
Yeah.
Like, it can be like 3 or 4 mile an hour out. If you're driving a car from the 60s, it'll tell you if you're doing between 30 and 90. You've just got to guess because it's just bouncing like this.
Who's driving a car from the 60s these days, though?
Oh, mate, I mean, give me like another couple of good months and hopefully I will be.
Yeah.
Hopefully going to buy myself a 1968 Jaguar S-Type.
Wow.
Just a big old boat that I can just get me, 5 of my mates in, all fully tweeded up,
Yeah.
couple of Cuban cigars and just rock down to the pub and just be like, hello.
Spent about 50 quid to go 2 miles.
Quite right, yes.
My question I forgot to ask before the camera died was about Formula One, actually.
Yes.
You can take 3 drivers, past or present,
Yep.
on a lads' weekend away.
Mm.
Who are you picking and why?
Now that is a question. Right, so number 1 is definitely Michael Schumacher. Number 1, because to me he is the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And also, actually, like Michael away from the track was an absolute party animal. So there's a great story that is told between Schumacher and Jason Plato, touring car driver.
Yeah. We actually
And-
did a campaign with him years ago.
Really?
Chain smoker.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. He's a good fun lad. And apparently Michael had this thing where he realized that if you pulled really hard on the back of somebody's trousers, you could pull their pocket off. And it was like this like gala awards dinner, and he walks up behind Jason before he even said hello, just grabs both back pockets, pulls really hard, and pulls the whole backside of his trousers off, ties it around his head like Rambo, and is then like walking around this gala dinner going, "Do you know whose trousers these are? They're his," and just pointing over to Jason, who's just like trying to cover himself.
That's mad.
So Schumacher's definitely up there at number 1. I reckon Jim Clark, because he's a old school Scottish racing driver. People that really, really know put Jim Clark up on like the Mount Rushmore of Formula One.
Right.
But also because he holds quite an interesting record of the most amount of races entered in an entire season. So I think he did mid 50s, maybe early 60s.
Yeah.
And that's across Formula One, what was then GP2, now Formula 2, sports car racing, touring cars. Like he did everything. And he was just sort of some humble farmer that just kind of would turn up, be blisteringly quick, and then go home.
And he died at 32.
Yeah.
Here.
So I
Wow.
think it was at Hockenheim in a GP2 race or a
You are completely correct.
Yeah.
It says it right there, yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, I mean those cars back then were literally flying death traps.
Yeah.
They look like flying death
they-
traps. What
they
is
w-
that?
Yeah, it was an evil crash.
That is just an
Um,
insane looking car.
Yeah.
And
What on earth?
beautiful machine, and that was the slower version of what he was racing in Formula One. Like everybody used to say back in the day, like you'd want to drive a Lotus. They were the best car, but the last car you'd want to crash in is a Lotus because it will just fall to pieces and you will die. So Schumacher, Clark, and then Raikkonen. Like Kimi Raikkonen, like that boy is just known for being a bit of a party animal, and I reckon he's like in front of the camera, he's really, really quiet. I reckon when the camera's turned off, he's actually quite a lively person to be around.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
he's
know if he's-
Finnish.
He's also finished, so I
Come
know how to pack it away. But I mean, have you ever seen the clip of him and Vettel at the awards dinner? I think it's 2019. Raikkonen didn't realize he was going to have to go on stage at one point. Got absolutely leathered. And then, like him and Vettel go up on stage, and Raikkonen walks on before and is clapping like this. He's like, Vettel, it's lovely. And he's trying to compose himself, and Sebastian's just wetting himself the entire time.
Also one of the best nicknames, the Iceman.
Oh,
That is what a
So cool,
Yeah.
so good, and he should have been a multiple-time world champion. Unfortunately, the McLaren was just about as reliable as a crackhead on a Thursday, and just kept going bang. But one of the best cars ever made, in my
what
opinion.
about James Hunt?
Oh God, I did forget about James Hunt. He's a good guy. I feel like though the 3 drivers that I've named are far better drivers,
Mm.
and I feel like James Hunt's also a little bit of an obvious one, but he would be cool.
Mm.
Just interesting. Like there's some real fun clips that you see, and he's just like really witty, really old school English humor, and seeing him sort of Sterling Moss bouncing off of one another, like, was brilliant. And there's one clip where Sterling just says like, "So how is it that you can drive just so much quicker than the rest of the field?" And he just looks at him straight and goes, "Big balls." And he's getting Sterling goes, "Oh no, he's just cocking about now." James goes, "No, I'm not. It's the truth." And it's just like stuff like that is just brilliant. But yeah, I mean, maybe controversially, no, I wouldn't say that. Yeah, Hunt would probably be number 4 or number 5, I reckon.
okay.
Who would be your
Maybe if you do a top 5.
top 5 F1 drivers on a night out?
I think like I know a little bit about motorsport, but I don't know
Yeah.
enough of it about it to know what their personality is like.
Yeah,
That's the thing. As I said, it was around my house growing up.
Mm.
It was always on TV, but it was one of those where I've despised it because it was on TV so much.
Of course.
So I probably can't give you a good answer for that.
The only one I like know of like from my interviews is like Ken Block.
Oh, Ken Block.
Yeah,
Ken Block.
I'll probably
reckon
put
he'd
him up
be-
there.
Yeah,
It'd be cool.
he'd be a good giggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know what he did. Like what, like drifting or something.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was a rally driver.
Very
He wasn't a very
Rally
good rally driver.
Yeah, and then he made a
Um,
career of just being Hoonigan, right?
Yeah. So Hoonigan was his brand, but I think the events that he did were like called Gymkhana,
Yeah, Jim Carner.
which was just absolutely mental.
Yeah.
And he would always build a car that wouldn't fit to any regs, and would just be like, right, watch me drift this up a mountain range.
And then so we did a thing with him campaign years ago for the Champions League final.
Oh, right.
It was in 2012 with Ken Block, and we built this like course around in Stratford,
Okay.
and the things he was doing were just insane. The sound of the car though as well, it like blew you away.
Oh,
It was ridiculous.
there's something about a competition engine in a car
Mm.
that you're just like, that just sounds.
It's the smell, man. Like when you got
Mm.
like I remember I've never seen a Formula One or any of that like live, but I
Mm.
remember when I was in Hungary when I was interrailing, I went to a water park near Budapest,
Okay.
right by a track.
Yeah.
Could be the Hungarian like GP.
I mean, there's the Hungaroring.
Yeah, no clue what it was, but I remember being in this outside water park going on the water slide because it's on the hill, and you can just see like the Formula 2 cars like driving down, and you can just smell like the rubber.
Yeah.
It's so potent, even though we're all the way up there.
There is something about the smell of cars that is
Yeah.
just
Smell of petrol.
intoxicating. Yeah.
Just,
And
uh,
race fuel is
Yeah.
different kettle of fish as well. Because we get what I think Esso is the best fuel we can get at like 99 octane for the road.
Mm.
I love filling up the car.
yeah.
It's just like, which fuel do I go into today? Am I feeling fancy or am I a peasant? Lovely, thank you.
And just seeing the needle go from there to whoop to full.
Just the smell of it is
It is delicious. To be fair though, actually, I was filling up in Southwark the other day and I nearly had a full crash out moment. It's the only social media phrase that I will use. I
Full
can't believe I
crash
just
out
used it.
moment.
Full crash out. I was on the forecourt filling one of the cars and just off, like next to, hilariously, the electricity charging bay, but still within about 10 foot of the forecourt where the pumps were, there's an Uber driver sat on the bonnet of his Prius having a cigarette.
Oh my
The fuck do you think you're doing, mate? Like ran over, grabbed the cigarette out of his hand, walked it over to the road and like stamped on it. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, well, I'm not filling my car. I was like, no, but there are 8 other people filling their cars. What on earth? He was like, oh, it's not dangerous. And I was like,
So you actually went and took it out of his hand.
yeah,
That's ballsy.
I didn't want to have my face blown off by a fireball. Like it did.
Wow.
Basically, he just went, boop, flicked it away, and just
Yeah, like GTA style.
I mean, to be fair, I was having like moments as I was like filling up the car. I was thinking that is exactly what's going to happen, and I'm going to have to explain why like half my face has just decided to melt off.
What do you think of electric cars? So you're a big car guy, so
Very big car guy. Electric cars have their place, as every form of
The bin.
transport does. But yeah, beautifully said. No, I think the electric cars, if they are city cars, they have a place. Like a little Honda E, perfect around town.
Those are cool.
And it keeps the air a little bit cleaner, right? But if you're buying it because you think you're doing something good for the planet, you're an idiot. You have to sit for 45 minutes to let it charge, even like halfway on like a motorway, and it costs the same as a petrol car. I personally don't think the batteries were ever going to be the solution. Like even Elon Musk has come out and said we don't have enough of these rare earth minerals to give electric cars to everybody in the States, let alone everybody else around the world. You know, I always thought that the alternative would be hydrogen fuel cells. And downside is hydrogen is a bit combustible and can go bang quite easily. So what sort of Porsche now doing, Sebastian Vettel, P1 Fuels and Bentley, they're all making now fully synthetic fuels, which means you don't have to change anything in your car, none of the injectors, none of the fuel tanks, none of the lines. It's very complicated, but they basically mix hydrogen with water, which is weird because I thought water was made of hydrogen. 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. There we go. And carbon dioxide within the atmosphere, refine it into a liquid, and then you can just put that into your fuel tank. And technically the whole thing is carbon negative, I think.
Yeah.
But it being a prototype at the moment, I think it's like 10, 12 pounds a litre.
Wow.
So it's a little bit expensive. But if you told all of like the big fuel manufacturers like like Shell, BP, Gulf, all of these guys, right, put a load of money into that, it will, you know, as soon as they refine the process and they can ship it, dirt cheap. It'd be great
Yeah.
because then we can keep lovely sounding motor cars on the road. We can say goodbye to shit EVs and insta death every time you walk out into a street.
I think that's the worst part about EVs as well, is when they do the fake engine sound.
Oh yeah.
That is just
That's
so cringe.
It's like somebody painting on a beard. It's like, what are you doing? We all know it's fake. Like, it's pathetic.
Yeah. And they started doing who was it, like the muscle cars? Was it like Hellcats that are like electric now and stuff? Like there's just
So,
straight
yeah, there's now a Dodge.
Dodge, yeah.
Dodge
What it is.
Challenger EV,
Right.
and it's pathetic. Like, why? That car is literally it's 4 seats with an engine in front designed to go as quick as it can in a straight line.
Yeah. That's like pure American muscle that's just been like gentrified.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. They're like,
woke.
yeah, we could.
It's
we
woke.
can-
It's woke. That's
They
what it
said,
is.
go won't go broke. Like, it's just like they're like, we can do what the Europeans can do. No, you can't. America, sit down.
If you're American,
Um,
just get a petrol car, man.
Oh
Get a
mate, just buy
gas
a
car.
V8 motor. Hell yeah.
Yeah, like,
like-
Ford F-150 that can just would never fit here, but in America, just go for it, man.
Gotta be done. Like, can you remember actually saying that Ford F-150? Can you remember the original Fast and Furious movie?
Yes. Well, the first one.
The
very
OG,
first one.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
proper
yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Never watched
The-
it.
You never seen? Wow, that's travesty, mate.
Right, is that the time? But no, so the Ford F-150 SVT Lightning, the red pickup in that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A guy down the street from me when I was growing up had one of those.
Really?
It looked so gangster. I mean, it had the same engine as a Ford GT in it,
Yeah.
and it's a pickup truck that's just like cruising around like a muscle car.
I guess back then it was made more sense to have it because fuel was cheaper. And nowadays to have that, it's like it costs a fortune to fill it up.
Oh god,
And that's why most people also pivot to like electric cars and
yeah.
small engine cars.
100%. Like, I can remember my dad complaining when fuel got to £1 a litre. And like,
When
I
was
used to-
that? Like,
yeah, like I was probably like 5 years old. Him going, £1 a litre. And he was just losing his head. And this is coming from the same guy that said he would quit smoking as soon as a pack of cigarettes got to £1 a pack.
pound a pack.
Pound pack. But like, he told me stories of his old man complaining that, you know, fuel had gone over £1 a gallon. Like, fuel used to be so cheap, and then they just went, we can charge everyone lots of money for this, put
Yeah.
some tax on top, and suddenly we're all broke. We're driving cars that have no personality.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your social media now
Go on.
and to understand how that's helped you get to where you are now
Okay.
with touring cars and all stuff like that.
Okay, understood.
Talk
So-
me through how do you feel that's helped you get to where you are now?
Well, I feel like the sort of,
And do you think actually without social media you'd be doing that?
oh, 100% not. Definitely not. Like, I would still be 100% fully focused on the tourism business and just trying to keep that afloat and keep that moving. You know, as much as it's a fun business, it's different. You know, we've got like, I think our overheads take like 50% of our profit. So it's like, great. But no, I mean, social media has opened up all of these amazing doors. You know, I was spotted by Nick Halstead, who's one of the older drivers on the touring car grid last year. And he said, do you want to just come along to the opening round, see what it's like? I was like, yes. It was brought up better than to say, you know, no to something like that. So I went along, enjoyed it, loved it, and just tried to make friends with everybody that I could. Went back for the next round and the round following that. And then I think by the 4th round, I said, I'm just going to turn up for the rest of the season if that's all right. And I went, yeah, please do. And, you know, made my own little bits of content, you know, got out a wooden spoon and started interviewing people. And people always like to ask why a wooden spoon. I was like, well, social media is the wooden spoon of presenting. So like, I might as well have one
Wow.
with like my mic on it. And yeah, it's just kind of snowballed. And I've now been hired back this year by Quick Fit, who are the title sponsor to do their presenting.
Yep.
And I absolutely love it. And I'm just hoping that, you know, keep on showing up and, you know, just trying to show a different side of, you know, motorsport will hopefully carry that forward. And,
Yeah.
you know, with Formula One, we were discussing, you were saying earlier that, you know, we don't really understand the personalities with the drivers or the riders if it's, you know, bikes as well. Formula One, we kind of do because they have all these interesting segments of like get to know the driver and like they go on bike rides or they'll go play golf or something. There isn't anything like that for any other motorsport category in the world. So I'd love to do that with touring cars because it's so accessible. The driving is brilliant. It's all sprint races. You get 3 races on a Sunday. And the drivers are genuinely lovely human beings. Like, I wouldn't say there's a single asshole in the entire
Yeah.
paddock.
Did you watch it growing up? Because as I said before, the Formula One in my house, I hated it.
Yeah.
But touring cars, for some reason, I absolutely loved. I don't know what it was about them. Obviously, they're more like, not like family cars, but they're cars you see on the road that you'd.
Yeah.
see on a day-to-day basis. And obviously the PlayStation game, I thrashed that to hell growing up.
Oh god, yeah, the Toka whatever.
Have you ever watched touring cars? Do you know what touring cars are?
I have no clue like about what they even are.
So a touring car. So back when we were growing up, that was the Super Tourer days.
Yeah.
To be fair, everybody still likes to hark on about them because they were very much the golden era touring cars. But essentially, a touring car is a saloon car, so it has to be 4 doors.
It has to be 4 doors.
It has to be 4 doors. Apart from WSR found a cheat with their 1 Series a couple of years back because the silhouette for the 4 door and the 3 door is, or sorry, the 4 door and the 2 door is exactly the same. So they just ran 2 doors on it, which gave them way better rigidity, and they won the championship. Quelle surprise!
Wow. What a loophole.
Exactly. But they're also always supposed to be, 4-door saloon cars, family sort of cars that you can drive on the road, that are obviously then tuned up and sort of messed around with a bit. And back in Super Tourer days, they were amazing because they looked exactly the same as the road cars. Like there was no stretched arches, no bigger grills, none of that. It was just a spoiler on the back, bigger wheels, and then everything on the inside was done. But like the budgets were stupid back then. So like during the sort of 90s, for example, Nissan were the top category. They had their Nissan Primera GT. Their budget was roughly 3.5-4 million quid a year.
Yeah.
Per car. Now it's closer to 500,000. So like the budgets are nowhere near as big. They used to have qualifying engines as well. So
How come the budgets are so much smaller these days? Is it because like people just don't watch it anymore?
basically, yeah. So people don't watch it.
Why do you think people don't watch it? And why do you think it's lost its appeal? Is it hidden like somewhere down in the weird rankings of TV?
Yeah, it's down on ITV4 on YouTube. And it's not the glitz and glamour of Formula One. It's not like endurance racing like WEC and things like that.
Yeah.
With, ridiculous hypercars and GT3 cars. And I think it's because for a while touring cars went through a really awful stage. They tried to move it away from the Super Tourer days of just complete excess and do whatever you want, and the cars got a bit crap. The racing's always been brilliant, but the cars were just a bit dull. I think the cars are in probably the best place they've been in since the 90s now. I mean, there's still nothing on the Super Tourers.
What do you think they need to do to get back to the glory days?
For me, I think they need to... I might get in trouble for saying this, but I don't care. They need to make the commercial aspect of touring cars much better.
Yeah.
When you look at V8 supercars, which is kind of a similar aspect over in Australia, the commercial side of V8 supercars is massive. There are more people working within their commercial segment per team than there are mechanics. Most teams have got not even most teams, some of the drivers in touring cars have got like a one-man camera team that follows them around. Like that just shows you sort of the level of difference of how much effort's been put in.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because that sort of side of it hasn't really been understood or hasn't really caught up. And also it needs to be on ITV1. It needs to be on primetime TV.
That's obviously like a far cry because it's like it'll cost millions.
It would cost a ridiculous amount to do that. But I think if you want the sport to, it's top flight British Motorsport. It's the third oldest, longest standing racing series in the world. It's Formula One, NASCAR, touring cars, or British touring cars.
Do you think that they don't utilize the social media enough as well? Do you think would it be an advantage to like try and introduce to a Gen Z audience through, like things like TikToks and more short form content?
They're definitely trying, and they're moving in the right direction. They're just doing it very, very slowly.
Right.
Some of the drivers, Tom Ingram, for example, has got a brilliant team around him, and they're pumping out, anywhere from like 20 to 30 videos on a race weekend.
Oh wow!
Like, they are really pushing hard. I mean, it's quite easy for somebody like Tom because he's a naturally funny human being and he's always in the title fight. So it's people interested.
Sorry to interrupt you as well.
Silly.
Why do you think that? Do you think the sentiment is different towards social media and British car touring? Did they see it more as a fad rather than something that would actually be used as a tool to grow the audience?
I would never like to speak on behalf of Toka because that would definitely get me in trouble. But I think that they just need to possibly just wise up to the actual power and the reach that social media has.
Right.
The fact that I am just a guy that sits in his car, tells stories, and has now got nearly 600,000 followers in the space of 2 years.
Wow.
That kind of says something. Like if you've got racing cars on track, banging doors with each other, which they do every single race, people getting shipped off into the gravel, people having like little angry sort of like pushing matches, handbags, all of it. it's Formula One but accessible. Like a full race weekend ticket is 75 quid.
Wow.
And you can go into the garages, you can go down the pit lane, you can talk to all of the drivers.
It's like a working man's Formula One.
Basically, yeah, 100%.
Who wins in a fight, George Russell or Max Verstappen?
Oh, Max Verstappen. I'm sorry, but like,
Well, Formula One it is then.
Because he was on about the scuffles.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like, there's one thing that I really do despise about Formula One at the moment. It's the fact that everyone has to pretend that they're friends. Like, Formula One, you are there as the best 20 drivers in the world, and you're now gonna like stand there like happily next to somebody that put a brilliant move on you and made you look like an idiot, and you're supposed to go, oh yeah, no, we're all friends. Like,
How do you think he beats him?
Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
I headbutts him. I can just straight up smacks him in the bridge of his nose. Like, George is too prim and proper. He'd be just like fisticuffs at dawn, darling. Max just comes in with duck
Do you think
bites.
it's just a headbutt and that's it, done?
Yeah,
Do
I don't think George has got much of a chin. I mean, he's got a neck. I'll give him that. Like, he could probably take a recoil, but like, I think, out of all of the drivers in the paddock, Verstappen would be one of the ones that I'm most scared of.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Like, just because he's just got that, it's like all proper champions. He's got that evil streak in him. You don't know how long it is, where it goes or where it ends, but you know it's there. He's got it. Schumacher had it. Alonso used to have it, but he's now softened.
So you know there was the craze going around a few weeks about the 100 men against the gorilla.
Yeah.
Like, who's winning in Royal Rumble in Formula One? Like, all the drivers, who's coming out on top? They've all got to
All the
enter at
drivers.
once as well.
Royal Rumble, full WWE
Yeah.
WrestleMania type vibes. Hulk Hogan introducing all of them as they come running in.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Vintage.
Well, Yuki I think is going to struggle because he's the shortest.
You can bring a helmet as well.
What, the
Can't
racing
bring-
helmet?
You can bring your racing helmet.
all right, so like you can either use it as an offensive weapon or have it as a safety device.
Yeah.
Okay. So George, to be fair, and Albon have got a longer reach than anybody else. So I feel like they're going to be using it as a weapon. But I think Liam Lawson, he's quite a scrappy individual. Yeah, I think he's Kiwi. They're known for being quite hard. That is, it's either going to be Lawson, Verstappen, or maybe Carlos Sainz, because he's just so smooth. Like anybody that like touches his beard, it will just graze off. And just be like, didn't touch
So
me.
slick. Or
Yeah,
just,
exactly. He's
Wow.
just, and then you can just see him just like saying "smooth operator," because it just like misses everybody's.
He's like doing the
punches.
capoeira while trying to like fight them all.
Exactly that.
Love that.
But yeah, I don't think it's going to be George Russell.
What if you change it to like of all-time Formula One drivers?
All-time Formula One drivers.
Nigel Mansell's winning that, I think.
I mean, to be fair, he's going to be a hard bastard to
The
beat.
moustache.
Just the power of the stash would just make you get on your knees and just say, "I'm not worthy." I
The
don't
aura
apologize."
that he has. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like who would? I mean, Alan Jones. So he was a Australia's only world champion, I think, up until the end of this year, because I'm calling it the Piastri wins.
Shout out Alan Jones.
But Alan Jones, Aussie guy, built like an outside toilet because you had to be. Like back then,
Like
Formula
a
One,
porta potty, is that what you're saying?
basically, yeah. But no, like Formula One drivers back in the day just used to be so much bigger because they had to be, because the cars were so much more physical. So I definitely think it's going to be someone of the old school. James Hunt would probably do quite well as well. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Alan Jones. To be fair, absolute boy.
Okay.
Who would you think would win in a fight of the current grid?
See, I don't really know much at all about Formula One, but just looking at the way they look, I feel like Lewis Hamilton has a little like something to him.
I mean, to
Like
be
he looks underrated, but I think he could pack a punch.
I reckon
he's
Verstappen
shredded.
wins.
He's a safe bet.
He just looks like a psycho.
He just looks.
I mean, to be fair, he's also got a lot of like, well, I don't want to speak out of turn, but he's definitely got a lot of trauma that happened to him as a kid. Like his dad just left him at a petrol station once because he refused to get in the car. So his dad's like, all right, just drove off. Comes back later, like half hour.
Charles Leclerc looks like he's got a chin on him. He could probably take a punch. I don't know if he could.
I mean, he's got a very
Front one.
good looking chin.
Yeah.
To be fair, speaking of
Chin.
chins, David Coulthard, he's
Yeah,
iron chin.
yeah, he'd be up there.
Okay. Well, moving on from that.
Cool.
Actually, it's not even moving on because it's very similar to a video you did. 100 Brits versus 100 Americans.
Yes, sir.
Are you actually backing that opinion still?
God.
What would you say? Who'd win?
Oh, Brits.
Yeah,
Easy.
100%.
Like, to be fair, like I broke it down and like did 10 groups of 10
no-
double hard bastards that I thought like you wouldn't want to mess with. I reckon just send them 10 people from Croydon, they'd be Like,
Okay.
like I get it. Americans, you know,
I'm not picking Croydon. I'm picking places like Wigan.
Bradford, like
Wigan.
like no-go zones.
Yeah,
just-
Wigan. Like Wigan's the place. I feel like they're just roided up psychos up there, aren't they?
That is
Rugby
very good
league
point.
players.
Yeah,
And Scousers.
Yeah, but they're
That's-
Scouse, not English.
They're not-
they're just Liverpudlians. Like,
yeah, like 10 paddies
Mm.
against like 100 Americans. 10 paddies are winning.
yeah, but paddies technically aren't inside Great Britain, so you couldn't really use them. The Northern Irish, you could.
I was talking about Paddy the Baddie.
Oh, Paddy the
the-
Baddie, yeah,
yeah.
Paddy the Pimlet. Yeah.
Yeah, Paddy Pimlet.
I was thinking about all my Irish cousins, which one I'd pick. I've got like 40 Irish cousins, so I was thinking about who I'd send in.
Please tell me you've got at least one Irish cousin called Mary, because if you haven't, that's
I've got an
upsetting.
auntie. Well, the funny thing is, like my Irish family's massive,
Mm.
but it's 95% guys and the cousins. There's only
Right.
I think there's only 2 or 3 girls.
Wow.
My sister's one of them. She's not called Mary. Then there's one called Sarah. I can't remember the other one's name. Forgotten.
The Talking Irish Names is one of my new favourite jokes. It's very much a dad joke. It's like, what do you call 2 gay Irishmen?
Go on.
Gerald Fitzpatrick and Patrick Fitzgerald.
oh, horrible. I love it. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. We've got a few segments I would like to try with you.
All right.
We've got our long-running top 5 segment.
Yes, sir.
That's the 10K.
Yep.
But we're also going to be trying some blind ranking. All right, Tom.
Yes.
Top 5 ugliest cars.
Okay.
What's your number 5?
Ooh, coming in hot at number 5. This might be controversial to everybody that lives in South London, but a Nissan Duke.
Oh,
I absolutely hate them. I mean, they're not the world's ugliest car, but they're definitely up there
they are like,
with just mainly because the people that drive them are.
I think
I
it's
can't use that word.
25th. What's the word?
But, starts with R.
They are a horrible looking car.
They're
I agree with
just
that.
Yeah.
Full.
Which is really annoying because that is also my number 5. I
Nice
feel like our lists are going to be very similar, but yeah. This
Superb.
Nissan
Love
Duke, horrible default NPC car.
Yep.
Agreed. What's your number 4?
Curtis would drive that.
Curtis would definitely drive that.
Number 4 is a Chrysler PT
Oh.
Cruiser convertible.
I didn't even know they didn't convertible.
Yes. It's an utterly disgusting car.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is also something Curtis would drive.
I mean,
Not gonna lie.
who, and the fact that it's got like the Targa roll round loop in the middle of it as well.
And is it a soft top convertible on that as well? It is. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Were they like notoriously really slow cars?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're just
Terrible.
notoriously shit.
I can just imagine putting like flame decals on it.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I've seen people with flame decals on it. I think they've just leaned into the fact that they have no taste.
Absolutely. My number 4,
Go on.
Toyota Prius. The Uber Toyota Prius.
Yeah.
They are
Read
just,
that. Yeah. Another NPC car.
mate, they are just so ugly. I know they are reliable and Toyota is like one of the best car brands, but come on. They are just ugly.
They are just vile.
That is an ugly car.
This is definitely a list that Curtis is buying. All these cars
Just
you can drive.
recommendations he's got
Yeah.
saved up in his
I mean, just looking at the front grille, it looks like it's tried to do like a 60s Parisian Mustang. It's like, yes, look at me. I'm a spiv. Would you like a watch? It's just terrible.
you just put that in my mind
Yeah.
now. I'm not gonna unsee it.
Prius, minging.
Wow.
Awful.
What's your number 3?
Oh, number 3. And that I put this in there mainly because it's such a letdown from the brand. But it's an Aston Martin Lagonda.
Lagonda. You're saying it's a letdown.
Yeah.
Oh, what earth is that?
Aston know to do so much better, and they came out with this.
A rectangle.
Yeah, why is it so long?
Yeah, and the proportions are just so off.
I just feel like you wouldn't be able to drive this.
I've been told they're not great.
Oh, so you actually know of someone that's tried driving this car?
A business friend of our tourism business has a collection of 37 of them
Wow.
because they were so crap and terrible that within like 10 years they were worth nothing. So he bought a load of them and just put them in a warehouse.
I mean, I imagine it'd be worth a lot back like one day. But,
That steering wheel's really weird.
It's funky, isn't it?
And it looks like an
Proper
old
like-
Citroen from the 80s. Really.
Yeah. Strange.
But I mean, it's futuristic. That's what happens when you give people LSD in the 80s, I suppose. But a bit of an L from Aston, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Oh, well, that is quite nice.
That's a
actually.
cool color
That is a
combination.
cool
though.
color combo. Very retro.
Naughty.
Anyway,
What's yours?
my number 3, again, you took it. It's a Chrysler PT Cruiser, not the convertible. I still think they are such ugly cars.
They are awful. They do look like a dog doing their morning constitutional. It's just terrible.
I just can't imagine who this car is made for.
It's made for
Curtis.
Curtis.
I like how you've not met this man, but you just know so much about him.
Slate him immediately. So that's basically for Curtis or middle-aged, leathery women from Florida.
Florida.
Basically the same person, right?
Curtis,
Curtis or a middle-aged woman. Yeah. All right. What's your number 2?
Number 2 is a Sangyong Rhodus.
Oh, I've seen those.
Rhodius. They're awful. They're designed to look like a super
Oh,
yacht.
wow.
Don't know how that looks like a super yacht.
I don't
But
understand.
there we go.
It's like a Tesla, but then with an added rectangle afterwards. But
No, I
can't
had
see
noticed that, but that does look very, very similar to.
Click on the
yeah,
picture of the person like standing
This
outside it. I want to zoom in on who drives that. Yeah,
Wow,
exactly
his-
what I think.
His hairline is cooked.
Exactly.
And he's ginger. God, he's really going to be struggling on Hinge, isn't he? Like, look at my car, designed after a super yacht. Pay no attention to my orange hair and the fact that that just looks awful.
Funnily enough, that is Curtis.
Curtis?
What are you doing there?
Sangyong?
To be fair, should we just rename the segment? What are your top 5 cars that Curtis drives?
Yeah.
Well, funny enough, he doesn't even have a license. So,
I now think even less of him. Jesus.
yeah.
I'm joking, Curtis. I love you.
No, you don't like your Curtis. My number 2
Go on.
is a strange one, but it's a Top Gear special.
Go on.
Heel P50.
No, you can't hate that.
Come on, mate. Like, who's going to drive that?
I mean, it's
I know one man that would.
Curtis.
Does his name start with a C by any chance?
But funnily enough, another guy with the name C drove it. Clarkson did. And all 6'4" of him managed to get into it.
4
Wow.
people.
No, he's 6'4".
Oh, 6 foot. And he
So-
managed to
and he
get
managed to get into it. I mean,
Wow.
I did consider it because it does look like a minion with a big forehead, but it's.
Aren't they like really expensive as well?
Oh, yeah,
Because
they're
it's so hard to get your hands on.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it even a car? It's got 3 wheels.
Yeah, because Reliant Robin's also technically a car, and that's got 3 wheels.
Such-
But at least they had the common sense to put the one wheel at the back.
How fast can they go?
Yes, they can.
Like 10 miles an hour?
Look at it.
I think about 10 or 15.
That's like an IKEA chair just put in. Like,
It literally is. They just went down their nan's garden and just went, yeah, we'll take that out of the shed.
where's the engine? Do you just pedal like,
You're,
like a Flintstone
you're
car?
sat on top of, in front
Wow.
of the engine. So it's a moped engine that's in it.
Wow.
Nice.
But it is, I believe it still has the record for the world's smallest car.
Insane.
Number 1 is, it's a bit of an obvious choice, but it is a Pontiac Aztec.
Pontiac Aztec. Let's have a look.
Yes, made famous from Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. That just gives America vibes. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. It's like a Chrysler PT Cruiser, but on steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's in the gym.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just like, look at me, I have nostrils and I've got lumps above my eyes. Like, it's just,
Why has got so many like lights as well?
I mean, that's just America in the 90s for you. really.
Yeah, strange car. But that, yeah, hell yeah,
Yeah, that's
brother.
what happens when Exhibit gets a hold of it.
Just tip my right. Yeah.
Exactly.
I can
Love
imagine
that.
you driving that.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably would, mate. I got flame decals on. I'm ready.
Go on then. So what is your number 1 then, chap?
Everyone knows it. Fiat Multipla.
Oh,
That is the creme of the crop of the ugliest cars
yes.
ever made.
I mean,
Yeah.
Like that.
It's definitely up there, but if you want to go down just what?
Look at the souped up one.
Yeah, the souped up race car
Wow.
version. That
That's-
looks
Wow.
gangster.
That looks
That's
like
some
a
touring
car.
cars.
yeah, exactly.
Look at the rims on it.
So
That's
I do. The weird thing is though, and I'm going to sound bizarre, I do actually have a bit of a soft spot for a multipla.
Is there a reason for that? Did you ever have one? Or
One
your
of my
family?
one of my neighbours had one,
Right.
and he would give me a lift to school every so often. It was mainly the fact that you could sit 3 people across the front, and it felt
You
like
can sit 3 people across
yeah,
the
it's got
you
3
can.
chairs across the front.
It's like
Mad.
a minivan.
Yeah.
Well, a van, really, not minivan.
The Mark 1 multiplas were definitely uglier.
All right, let's have a look.
The
Before
Mark 2s weren't as bad. They kind of like gave it a bit of a facelift.
Oh, wow. 2 sunroofs. Luxury. And
Yeah.
Piss yellow color as well. Love it. SKO2.
I mean, that's just.
Could you pick a worse colour?
Curtis, I think we've got a new car for you, mate. Right. That was a really good top 5 list. I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that. You had some good cars in there, sir. And the fact that we actually agreed on our number 5 as well.
And not number 3, I think, as well. 'Cause-
Oh, yeah,
well,
both
we had
two-
two similar
Yeah,
cars, yeah.
different rankings for the PTs, but definitely.
That was fantastic. Right. You guys ready to do
Yeah.
another top 5?
This one is top 5 car brands. What's your number 5?
Number 5, coming in strong, Aston Martin.
Oh, okay.
I've got to have something British in there. And it's, I got to the bottom of the list and I was like, I need to have something British. Can't be Bentley, Can't be Range Rover because they all get stolen. We'll go with Aston. What was your number 5?
Aston Martin.
Hey, come on. Look at that. 5s for both of them matching up.
Wow.
Look at
For
that.
me, they just ooze class, and James Bond partnership is just, you know.
Absolute boy. However, fun fact, did you know that Ian Fleming never wrote for James Bond to have an Aston Martin? He actually drove a Bentley.
No,
Yeah.
there you go.
But unfortunately, they weren't quite as stylish in the 60s.
Say
as
no
an
more.
Aston. But there we go.
What's your number 4?
Number 4. God, I've got to open up my notes now. Number 4. Bit rogue. Volvo.
Ooh.
Interesting.
I love a Volvo because they just, they are themselves. They don't try to pretend to be anything else. And I always like to laugh and joke and say that boys love Ferraris and Lambos, men like Volvos. What is your number 4?
Audi. Because I've owned a few,
Yeah.
RS and SQ8 at the moment.
Yes.
I've loved every single second of driving it. So
100%.
yeah.
I can't knock that because I had an Audi S3 before.
Yeah.
An 18-year-old decided to write it off for me.
and it's now like family car.
Yeah.
So I can get away with still having that and also having fun with it. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Also,
number 4.
like as much as your SQ8 is delightful,
Mm.
who wouldn't want to be rolling around like an RS6 as a dad?
Yeah.
You just look like you pull up at school and you're just like, yes, I know. You want to be in this car, don't you? Sorry, your parents didn't work hard enough.
What's your number 3?
Number 3, Ferrari.
Okay.
What are you going for?
I'm putting Mercedes-Benz at number 3, especially one of their classic SL cars. I would go against the Gorilla for one of them.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Oh, if someone gave me if somebody said,
Give me a
right,
chance.
here's a 300 SL or a 280 SL Pagoda,
Like classic.
go have some fun.
Wow.
Try and beat up the
like
Gorilla.
Oh, like
Like
a
a classic.
yeah.
Like classic, not like the 2020s.
No. if you're looking like 50s and 60s,
Yeah.
like they were
Ultimate
brilliant.
shagging wagon, that thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Get a nice picture of one of those on the screen.
But also the old Mercedes race cars were gangster as well. Like the one that Sterling Moss drove for the Mille Miglia, I think it was in 51.
Yeah.
It's it's a 300 SLR, and it had the number 722 on the back. Averaged the highest speed that the Mille Miglia has ever done.
Yeah. Put 300.
Got out of that and then got into another car and then drove 16 hours through the night to take a girl on a date in Austria.
Mm.
Like proper shagger's car. Not that.
Not
Definitely not that. Still a multiple. I mean, you can get 6 people in it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
300 SL gull wing.
Look at that. That's a thing.
They're multi-million-pound cars
Yeah.
now as well. They're ridiculous.
One day.
One day.
One day.
When you get to 300 episodes, buy yourself a 300 SL.
What's your number 2?
Number 2 is Ford.
Okay.
'Cause I quite like a Ford. I think, they
affordable.
Very good. Very weird. You should work in marketing. It's mainly just because of the amount of amazing cars that they have put out through their history. I mean, at the moment they're a little bit lackluster, but like you look at the Capri, you look at the Mustang, the GT, and how many cars they've actually made. And then the fact that also Henry Ford invented the
This is my first ever car.
That's it.
Ford
Nice.
Focus.
My 2002 Ford Focus.
Sick.
Reliable.
Zetlek 1.0.
Nice.
Oh, I love a Z-Tech. Go on,
Right.
what's yours?
My number 2, which one do I put at number 2? I'm going to put number 2, Ferrari.
Oh,
Specifically a LaFerrari. Like that is just going to be, that should be number 1. But I can't put it number 1 because there's another reason why something else is number 1.
I mean, for me, modern day Ferraris, I'm not a fan. Really not a fan. The LaFerrari, however, I mean, it's the Halo car.
Yeah.
Great. Like the LaFerrari P1 and the 918, 918 Porsche. Amazing cars. But for me, if you were going to go Ferrari, there are 2 or 3 serious options that I would always want, which is a 250 short wheelbase, which I think is the prettiest car ever made. A Daytona, which is just gangster as anything, or a 355.
And there's a reason why they're both number 1, number 2, because my dad had. Actually, I'll save it for number 1.
Number 1
First.
for me, and I am going to sound very biased, but I don't care. It's BMW.
Yeah,
Because I absolutely love BMWs. I
Yeah.
think they're brilliant. They are the affordable driver's car.
yeah, I
And
do
I
like
think-
the BMW.
Everybody would say, like, if you're a driver, drive a BMW. If you've got a bit more money, drive a Porsche. If you've got
Yeah.
more money than that, go and buy like
Yeah.
a McLaren or a Ferrari or some silly supercar.
I had a BMW competition
M1.
M1. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I need to get me.
Series.
I need to get me a blooming social media marketing agency.
That was
Like,
good.
you're
That was
some
good
nice
fun. That
cars.
car.
Jeez, go on then. Give me your number 1.
So my number 1, and it was a toss up between this or Ferrari. I've got to put Porsche as number one because my dad had a Ferrari and a Porsche on the mantelpiece growing up, and I always played with them as a kid.
Yeah.
And it was always the Porsche I'd pick over the Ferrari.
Yes.
And I also had almost had a midlife crisis about 3 months ago because I've got another son due in August.
Right.
Almost.
Congratulations.
I've not told my wife this. I almost ordered a Porsche 911 GT for 3 months so I could play around with that before my son came.
What an absolute hero move that would have been.
But I decided not to do it.
Yeah, he was just like,
stupid
You would have been
money.
fuming if you did that.
yeah.
Stupid money.
I mean, to be fair though, if you did buy a GT, it's not going to lose any money because it's a bloody Porsche GT. So you're like, darling,
It was just
investment.
a stupid couple of days
Yes.
about that, and then I
Yes.
didn't do
If
it.
you for the third kid.
Yeah.
So have you ever owned a Porsche before?
No, but I'd love to.
So
Like
you
that.
wouldn't have been able to have even bought the GT3 then?
I called up the what is it, Porsche near me,
Yeah.
and I think I spoke to them about it, and the girl was saying, oh, maybe potentially, but she offered me a few other things, and
Yeah, because that's what they normally do.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like when you get a fancy watch, you actually can't get what you want to get. You got to buy all the shit first
yes.
before you can get to that.
I think it's something
Properly.
ridiculous. Like you've got to own like 3 or 4 Porsches
Yeah.
before you're allowed like a GT3 RS or something
Yeah.
like that. Which is, I understand, but like
Mm.
it's also a bit dickish.
I think we've got 2 more segments for you to do.
Yeah, gold.
And we're going to wrap it up.
Sweet,
Yeah, no
let's do
rush.
it.
Going to try a new segment today.
All right.
Blind ranking.
Oh dear.
You are the first sort of test rabbit for
I'm
this.
going in blind.
Going in blind.
Is he just doing it by himself?
Well, it's going to be me, you, and Jack giving
Okay,
these.
fine.
So there's
Alright.
2 blind ranks that we're going to do today.
Okay.
Blind ranking Formula One drivers. We've seen that you've done something similar
Oh god.
on your
I
own.
got caught out so bad last time.
So this is going to be one. And then blind ranking Formula One circuits.
So Tom, we're going to do blind ranking Formula One drivers.
Yes, sir.
Ayrton Senna.
All right, let's go number 2 because there are better drivers than Ayrton, but not many.
Wow.
Max Verstappen.
Because it's really difficult. Because I would genuinely say that Ayrton and Max are basically exactly the same. So I don't think Max is the greatest of all time. So I'm gonna have to put him 3.
Niki Lauda.
Okay, yeah, he is really good, but I feel like you're only naming really good drivers. But Lauda is also sensational, so I'm gonna put him 4th.
Charles Leclerc.
Oh, 5th out of that list.
Okay. Yuki Tsunoda.
Oh, bollocks! So I've been done over again. Oh god, I'll put him 6. We just started at 2, went down to 6. Like that would have been the perfect
That
order.
was a good stitch up, though, wasn't it?
I hate you so much. All right, yeah, there we go. I know nothing about Formula
There
One.
you go.
Yeah.
James, I love you.
There's your top 5.
And now we are blind ranking Formula One circuits with Tom.
I'm gonna get stitched up again, you awful human being.
Okay.
But go on.
We are going to start with Suzuka.
Good circuit. Crap with the modern cars though, because they're too big. But that's not the circuit's fault. Number 2.
Okay, interesting. Bahrain.
Bahrain. Good Grand Prix circuit. 4.
Monaco.
It is the jewel in the crown, but modern cars are too big. Even the older cars are too big, so that's got to go 5.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Okay, so what have you got 1 and 3 left?
I've got 1 and 3.
1 and
left.
3? Okay. Miami.
Shit. 10th. I hate these new American tracks. All right, that's got to go 3 then.
So number 1,
Go on then.
you've got Silverstone.
Yes. Oh, some vindication.
You knew that was coming, didn't you? You could feel that was coming anyway.
Feel it. I was
couldn't
just
leave
like,
that
I've been
out.
stitched up too many times now. I can't be having this. I'm not too upset with that list, other than Miami being ahead of Monaco. Miami is the biggest waste of time in the world. I know that some people love it because it's Miami and it's success and everybody's tanned and looks sexy. It's a shit track.
The last question for you.
Yes, sir.
You're stuck in a room.
Yep.
You've got a Toyota Prius.
Oh god.
You've got a ring light. And you've got a vape. What content are you creating next for a TikTok?
It's ridiculous.
What a question. God, when I get home and have a chat, it's like, what did you do today? I discussed a Prius, a ring light, and a vape. I would probably do a video on how to lose friends and alienate people. sit in a Prius, puffing away on a vape in front of a ring light, telling everybody how amazing and superb I am because of this fantastic setup that I have, and try and make it as serious as possible and not satirical.
I love that.
I think that would do quite well.
Would you be doing like hoops with the vapes? With the vape smoke?
God, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
The tornadoes of it.
I am that awful person that I used to love, like, sort of nicking my friend's vape and just blowing the fattest rate possible. Like, because I used to smoke, and I would, if I was sat in a room like this, which would be very rare because I don't like smoking inside, but like just sit there, French inhale, or just like blow like rings every single time.
Like an old school newsroom.
Oh god, yeah. Like it's, you know, what is it? Michael in the Peaky Blinders. Whenever he smokes, he always French inhales in like the later seasons.
Yeah.
I used to love doing that. Like, there's nothing that can replace the burn of a rollie with amber leaf in it just going through your nose. You're like, oh, cancer.
And
Love
then you grew up.
And then I grew up and I realised that, you know, my lungs might need to be able to be a little bit healthier than that.
My last question, the very last question, I ask everybody this.
Yes, sir.
Who should we get on the podcast? You've been through the whole thing. You've had an hour and a half with us.
Yes, sir.
Out of anybody you follow or know on social, who should we get on? Just so we can tag them and get them on.
That's a good question. I actually think one person that would do really, really well is my mate Harvey, because he's known for wearing a motorbike helmet, and it's literally him just having, you know, showing off little bits of like fun little interactions. But I'd love to show people just how lovely he is as a human being.
Yeah.
That would be my answer.
Let's get him on.
Yeah.
Well, he's got 1.4 million followers.
Harvey, if you're listening, do it. Don't chicken out.
Let's get him on.
Let's get him on.
He is brilliant.
Right. Before we wrap up, is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to talk about? Any shout outs?
I haven't got any
British touring cars.
Yeah, I was about to say I haven't got any plugs, but I would plug the British Touring Car Championship. Make sure that you check in, tune in and watch it on YouTube or ITV4. It is the best motorsport, hands down. And if you want to go along to a race, 75 quid for the weekend, meet the drivers, get something signed.
I'm going to come.
Love that. I'm actually going to try watching it.
I'll
now.
see if I
Yeah.
can get you guys a couple of free tickets.
Wicked. We'll come down, we'll vlog it.
We'll vlog it.
We'll vlog it.
Oh,
Let me know.
yes. Amazing.
Perfect.
Superb. But can I just say before we end, thank you very much for having me on, boys.
Yeah,
I've
amazing.
really, really appreciated it. I feel very, very honoured to have been asked on to the pod.
Mate, thank you for coming up or down from Winchester. I don't know which way it is, but
Maybe there'll be some clips there to get us to 20k.
Yes, we'll see if we can get you up to 20k as much as we, like, as quickly as we can.
Wicked.
Thanks for
Tom,
coming on.
pleasure. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
boys. Really appreciate it.
See you next week.
bye.